Should we start by saying a little bit about ourselves?
Oh boy. Okay, good. You go first.
Oh, yeah, just to explain kind of the perspective we're coming from with our experience and training. I'm a Vedic astrologer. I've studied and practiced a variety of, healing and mystical practices for, anywhere from like 25 years to 20 years. So astrology, hatha yoga, meditation. I'm part of a tantric meditation lineage. I have a Celtic shamanism teacher with whom I'm an initiate and a student. I'm a priestess. I do full moon ceremonies every month. Like, ceremony is a constant part of my life, like doing formal ceremonies. And when it comes to the topics that we're going to discuss today, where I'm coming from is from a place of a lot of mystical experience and also a lot of transforming myself and transforming my life. Where I came from, like my family of origin, you're not supposed to be able to get here from there. But I did, and it's because of these practices and, my inclination towards healing and mysticism, and always always trying to reach for the next higher level of understanding of medicine.
And your name?
Oh yeah. I'm Jana Jones.
So I'm Melanie Nielsen, and yeah, I liked what you said about you're. I came from this family origin. You're not supposed to get here from there, because I can totally relate to that as well. So yeah, I mean, my initial upbringing was very American. How do I put it nicely? Just lower middle class and not very conscious at all. And and then it just sometimes even surprises me how I got to that point of discovering yoga and expanding into this realm of consciousness and evolving ourselves, and from that place of my origins, like, how the heck did I land there? It's wild. So yeah, I began my journey in yoga like when I was 17, and then studies in Eastern philosophy and yoga, and then went to do yoga teacher trainings and kind of dove into that whole world. I was always more about the philosophy and the psychology of yoga. Like, when I very first even started yoga, I didn't know it was hatha yoga practice. I thought it was like we were going to sit around and talk philosophy.
Oh
And then I
wow.
got there. Yeah, no, I got there and I was like, wait, you're moving? I'm not a movement person. At that time, at like 17, I was like, no. My boyfriend was always trying to get me to go to the gym. I'm like, ugh, I'm not going to the gym. It's not my thing. And then so then they got me a gift certificate because to some yoga classes, and he and I would always talk philosophy, so that's what I thought it was. So I get there and then I see that we're like being instructed into movement. I was like, he tricked me into exercise. I hate exercise. But I left like feeling really floaty and elevated, and I at that age I didn't even know I had stress. I didn't know what I knew. I'd heard the word stress, but I didn't know, I hadn't had the contrast. So after the
Yes.
class I was like, wait, I think I had stress. That's what stress felt like. But now I don't feel it. So I could finally like be aware of it and see it because of that. So yeah, I kind of got tricked into the physical part of yoga, and then moved on to trainings, but they were all for me. And then I got tricked into teaching because that's a whole other story. I was not planning on being a yoga teacher, and I got tricked into that too for 25 years.
For 25 years.
25
You're
year
like, I'm
trick.
still here. How the hell does this keep happening to me?
Why does this keep happening? So, but yeah, and now letting go of the studio, I feel like I'm coming more back to the roots that I had way back then, which was, taking yoga on a deeper level into the mind space and the psychology space again. And of course, always like questioning everything, like boiling things down to what is the reality of the situation.
Self-inquiry.
Self-inquiry, yeah. So bringing more of that back in to it, because that's what it was all about. So that's kind of my initial background, and then body work and Ayurveda, and a lot of it still within this realm of wholeness, because Ayurvedic medicine is a practice and path of wholeness. I believe yoga is a path of wholeness, and then the structural body work that I was doing, am doing, is also about like the whole structure, you know. So it's like I couldn't deal with like these limited ways of looking and compartmentalizing, and I guess I'm more of a systems person. I don't know.
Yes.
Without trying for it, it's just like where my brain wants to go, and what are the connections.
I had a similar experience with yoga when I was a teenager, where I did it from a VHS that I got from the grocery store. And
Do you remember the teacher? Was it like Liz
it was it was
Solon or
it was
something?
it was Ganga White
Oh yeah.
and Tracy Rich.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I would go through the motions of the video, and I couldn't explain it because it didn't feel like a workout. It didn't feel hard. But afterwards, I just felt so much better. And I didn't know what to make of it, but I just wanted to do it every day. Like I would put a sheet down on the floor in the basement, and I didn't want to take phone calls. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just right like I could not get
Nice.
enough.
So you knew there was like some transformative effect,
Yes.
and something
Yeah.
was shifting and changing, even though you might not be able to put words to
Yeah,
it.
like the power to change your own state. When you realize, when you latch onto something that gives you the power to change your own state, that is addictive. Like it's making me think
Yes.
of drugs, right? Because like,
Yeah.
why does someone want to do drugs? Well, because it makes you feel like, oh, I can change my state. Like I remember when I stopped smoking weed, and I had gotten to a place where I still was going through the motions of it, but I wasn't even enjoying it anymore. And I thought, why do I do this? And then I realized one day, oh, it changes my state. It doesn't take me to a better place, but it makes me feel like how I'm feeling now, I don't like and I'll change it. I'll use this drug to change it.
Yeah, and don't most of us do that with so many things,
Yes,
right? When that's all
relationships,
we're looking for is just a change of
a change
state.
of state. Yes. And it comes from that place that where there's something in us that really wants to evolve and is driven to evolve. But often the things we use to change our state in hopes that even unconscious hopes that it's going to take us to a higher place, it ends up draining us. Because like we crash from it, from all the energy it took to have that experience, and we don't even realize that like we're going through that cycle, like that is draining us. So something like yoga is one of the relatively few safe, if you want to use that word, things you can use to change your state, where you'll still have enough energy left that you can keep going.
It gives energy rather than depletes the energy.
Yes.
Well, because maybe the other ways they're really just distractions. It can change your state, but it's a distraction. Whereas things that change your state that are about really expansion, because distraction is like a contraction. Distraction is contraction.
Yeah. Oh, boom. That's a meme.
That is a meme. And yeah, and then like it's like when you stop doing something, or let's see, if we were taking like yoga or other practices or the self-inquiry, it's those things that kind of melt away. If you even think like hatha yoga, like melting away tension, like you're melting away the contraction so that you can feel what your more truer nature is.
Yeah, you can feel what you feel like.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what I feel like. When I feel bad, that's actually not me. But we take it personally and judge ourselves and like identify with that state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yoga, or also like I love qigong. I'm in a level 1 qigong teacher training with Lingui, which is a school in Portland. And yeah, so I've become obsessed with qigong. And what was I gonna say? The way that yoga or qigong, these practices, whatever are the boundaries by which you have defined yourself previously, or you've let your ego define you previously, these practices start to like melt those, like you said.
Yeah, because all limitation is really just ego.
Yes, it's a mistaken It's a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah. Nice. That was a great intro.
Yeah.
All right. So what should we talk about today? What's our
I thought it
conversation?
would be interesting to talk about what appear to be two opposing philosophies, but you and I both have done deep dives with each of them, and we know that both of them are true. So to start to define them, the first one I have in mind is what I would call the manifestation model. This makes me think of Joe Dispenza material and like popular quantum physics material that has come out that people are talking about. And it's the idea that we're creating our reality, that there is a wave, that reality is a wave function. And only when we observe something or when we focus on it with our consciousness does that wave collapse into a particle and become something that we can experience three-dimensionally and emotionally. So in that model, if it's going to be, it's up to me.
But what part of you? This might be where I throw curveballs.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Right, because what we think we want to manifest is usually coming from a place of lack, a sense of
Yes.
inadequacy, thinking that there's something missing.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that philosophy of manifestation. And then there is a seemingly opposing philosophy of surrender, kind of sitting back and letting things come to you and responding as needed, but certainly not reacting and certainly not trying to make anything happen. And that life is just going to be a certain way and you don't have control over the big ups and downs. And so the best thing you can do is like find a deep place of equanimity in yourself. And this is interesting because as an astrologer, right, astrology is basically a philosophy of predetermination. So I've thought about this a lot. And a lot of times people will really, the reason that they don't like astrology is because they feel like they don't want to be told what their life is going to be like or how or just how they are, because they want to feel like they have agency. And I'm not saying that everything in your birth chart is the limitation of exactly how you're going to be. In fact, the birth chart is a portrait of the limitations that were placed on you when your mind, which is a soft material called manas in Sanskrit, was imprinted by the energies of the planets, like right at that moment.
Well, we were all put into limitation because we were born into a certain culture, a certain family. I mean, we can't deny that
Yes.
part of our start of our story, of our journey, of our
Yes,
life.
yes.
But then we want to feel like, but then I can control and have agency over everything else. You know,
Right.
from this moment on, not recognizing, well, you didn't have control over this part here, or maybe you did, but in another state, you know, in the full consciousness state. Maybe that's where all those decisions were made, and maybe all the predetermined things were made.
And so the planets are called the grahas in Sanskrit. And the first time I was listening to a recording of an astrology teacher talking about the grahas, he said it translates as seeds. And I thought, oh yeah, like those imprints seed your consciousness. I later learned he wasn't saying seeds. Graha means to seize, to seize. So it's that these energies seize your consciousness. And I think that speaks to the predetermination, that gets imposed on us that we don't realize is there. An analogy I always think of it as is someone could take me to the most luxurious store on the whole planet and say, you can have whatever you want, it's all yours. But everything that's in there was already chosen for me. So things that choose for us are, like you mentioned, like family of origin, the place where we live, the culture we're in, if we're a man or a woman. So we have to find our agency, or we can't truly find our agency unless we can have the humility and maturity to accept these limitations. Like, you have to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that acceptance is a major practice or a major path for sure. And that goes into that surrender piece too
Yes.
that you talked about. Because I kind of lump those together as languaging,
Yes.
being okay with what is, surrender, allowing, receiving, and acceptance are kind of that category.
Yes. And then there are times maybe when I needed to take action, but I was kind of hiding behind a philosophy of just allowing, just having equanimity in myself. And so I think when people really like the manifestation model, maybe they're thinking of that. They're thinking, well, I don't want to be sitting back pretending like I'm too spiritual to get involved in the fray. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to make my voice heard. Or there's this saying I've heard that closed mouths don't get fed.
Mm.
Creating some way to show that, like, oh, me. Like if that's getting passed around, me.
But do we do that? Okay, so I want to kind of dive into this manifestation
Yeah.
thing. Maybe I back up a little bit because there's something in that raising the hand that I want to say is often more of a grab, but we'll get to that. So, as I've been thinking more about manifestation, because it's been on my mind a lot lately, I come to kind of a blanket statement for me is that the manifestation game is a game. It's a game we play to keep ourselves in the state of lack and longing, the lack and longing. And I wrote down a few little notes here.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And so that the trying to manifest, because it's saying, like, I'm not okay with what is, I'm not actually appreciating what I have right now, but I want more. I want this. So then that's like manifestations trying to grab. I want the I want,
Yes.
which we never really want, but that's a whole nother topic too. Like, well, really all we want is is a feeling, but the want is desire. That's the feeling. So we actually want, but we don't want to have, because having and wanting are very different things.
Yeah, because we already have, and we're not happy with that.
We're not appreciating what we already
We
have.
want to want.
Yes. So yes, that's a big part of it. So the trying to manifest, I feel, is a grab. It's almost like the greedy, entitled child. I'm not happy. I want. Where's
Yeah.
my next thing on my list? And it's like it's the lack of appreciation for what is, for now, for like I have $1 in my bank account, but I want to have $1 million in my bank account. So what would say that I will receive when I'm not already appreciating what I have? So then I feel like there is what the missing link in the manifestation world is this concept of appreciation. It's like, because appreciation is like when we say that in the money system, when money
Oh,
appreciates, so
yes.
they're
Oh
tied
my
together.
gosh,
So
yes.
money equals appreciation, or like they're tied together.
Appreciation equals appreciation of
Appreciation equals
everything.
money, appreciates
Yeah.
everything. So it's like I cannot win at the manifestation game if I come from this place of a lack of appreciation. But if I have appreciation, then there isn't this grasp want. There is more like it is a setting back and receiving, but it's receiving more than what your limited mind. Because the moment I say, this is what I want to manifest this, I want to have this, I want to have a bigger house, a better car, a better relationship, whatever it is, better sex, whatever. I want to have that thing. Really, what I want is a feeling, and I haven't acknowledged that, but I'm putting it outward in there. What I am doing is I'm grasping for one limited thing rather than if I step back and maybe there's a feeling that I actually want, the universe, the me, the consciousness, the quantum self, whoever, whatever it is, when I could just sit back in a state of appreciation of that thing, like I have appreciation for my dollar in my bank account, then I'm holding my hands like this. And then it can come with open hands to receive rather than I want
Wow.
the grasp.
Yeah.
That's what people I think are doing in the manifestation world, and they're not getting because they're not, yeah. Well, on one, because they're so specific, to let go of the
And you're
specifics.
coached to be specific. That you've
Yes.
got to be really specific, and the more
And how often
specific
does
you
that work?
are, yeah, because they all not all, we've all heard the stories of the guy who like put that particular Ferrari on his vision board, and then he gets the Ferrari, forgets about the vision board, then he finds it in the closet and is like, oh my gosh, it's the exact same
Yeah.
Ferrari.
And how many, like a million people have had that on their list, and he's only the one that got it. And who knows if the state.
He manifested better than you, Melanie.
Right. But how did he
What are
manifest
you
better?
doing wrong?
Was it the vision board, or was it maybe he had some appreciation? We don't know the inner workings or the inner feelings or that inner state
Right.
that really
Yes.
cultivated that.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yeah. Thinking that there are outer steps, that there's a
Protocols.
formula, yeah, the protocol, that everyone can do the same thing and arrive at the same result. I mean, if we just look around at people we are close with and we know enough about their lives, and right, like if all of us were given the same set of steps, we would not all arrive at the same destination.
Yep. But it's comforting to know, okay, if I just write down, 369, like 3 times I write this in the morning, 6 times I write this in the afternoon,
Yeah.
9 times I write this, and it's a formula again, right?
Yes.
And if I just say, with my affirmations that I have this now, I'm feeling that I have this now, which again is denying your own self-acceptance, life acceptance, appreciation, all of that gets missed in all of that too. That if I just do that formula, that will make it be. And if that was the case, everybody'd be able to do it. Like we'd log on to that and we'd be just like, that's all it takes.
Yes.
I'll spend all day doing that. If I don't have to go on an 8-hour job.
There would be mad inflation of luxurious lifestyles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can go to work at a grocery store for 8 hours a day, or I could just sit home and write this down for 8 hours a day. I'm going to sit down and write this down for 8 hours a day. If that's what it took to manifest things.
Right. So, do you think that some of those practices can ever be helpful? Because I think there is a place for it in the beginning, but I'm curious what you think.
I mean, I've done them all.
Yeah, me too.
But I spent a lot of time and energy on all of those. And like, I was a big goal setter. Do your 1-year plan and your 5-year plan and set it away and let it come, and
Yeah.
sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't. I will say that this, for me and my experience in my story, seems to be pretty consistent, is that whatever I think that I want and I get it, it's like, And then whatever I never thought for that came into my life ended up being way cooler than what I had planned. Like I was on the path to be an herbalist, and I was on the path to be like, from there I was going to be like, well, I studied Ayurvedic medicine after that. And then it was like, well, the next logical thing is naturopathic school. And actually, I'm really glad that I didn't, and then this whole yoga thing came about, which I didn't try for. It just like smacked me in the face. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this. I thought I was doing that, but now I guess I'm doing this. And it was actually a better fit for me than what my ego brain could have thought for me.
Yes.
So, and this has happened so many times, and it's even kind of happened recently in this connecting with this person who is like a potential love interest. We were friends for years, and I did not see this person in a light of like relationships and sexy and whatever. And, and it's like the universe kept bringing this person on occasion back into my life. I was like, here we are having tea again, or here we are, whatever again. And then one day it was like, wait a second here. Is there something here? Like what's going on? And it's like, again, my limited idea is like, I have this idea of what kind of man I'm attracted to. Well, he's going to have a beard and he's going
Okay, so this is
I'm
something
very
not to interject.
specific.
Yeah, well, and this is something that has been funny to me to watch, because I've been watching women write down their manifestation for their partner.
Yes.
And it looks like they are ordering a Ken doll.
Yes.
But if we saw men doing that and being like, okay, I want her to have these boobs and be this tall.
Yeah.
And, you know, we would feel really turned off by that.
Yes. See, what we are looking for is never the outer object thing. Like that experience too. That person doesn't have a beard, you know, like I guess it wouldn't fit my like certain way he dresses. I mean, I like the way he dresses, but you know, like whatever. I had like this image. But the feeling, because what we always ever want is a feeling. It's like, wow, whenever I'm around this person, I feel really calm and grounded. And there's all these feelings that I was like, man, this is like what a healthy relationship feels like. And I was trying to fit the box of what this person looked like to make it that feel, and it never had the feel. And then I come into this, I'm like, wow, this feels like everything that I want in a relationship, but the outer package maybe didn't come like that, or
Yeah.
all these other criteria that I thought that I needed in a partner that was very superficial and could change. It's like a beard can be shaved off or whatever, you know. Yeah, other specifics,
right.
you know.
And your partner's going to age, like they're not, or they
Yeah.
could get in an accident, or like
Yeah.
they could lose their job, right? Like he might
Right.
not always be 6 feet, six pack. What's the other one? Six figures.
Six figures. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, if that's what I'm looking for and largely looking for, or is at the top of my list, you know? But I guess, you know, we're out here looking for our thing,
Which
right?
is part of the grabbing.
Which is part of the
instead
grabbing. And I didn't need to grab for any of that. It just like came, and it was just, and it kept knocking on the door, and I kept saying no to it too. And this is why, like, how much agency do we really have? Because, you know, all the things that have been big things of my life just happened or kept banging on my door until I opened up the door.
Yeah.
You know, where all the things I'm trying for and the doing. So the goal setting, the trying, the strategizing, the planning, which is all like that part of the brain, the ego brain. And all ego knows how to do is create limitations. You
And
know,
it's also the animal part of ourselves that is obsessed with reproduction and resource acquisition. And I think one of the reasons it's so appealing is because we don't yet have the real thing. So we don't have anything to compare it to. So our fantasy is the best feeling we've ever had.
Right.
Like imagining having that, the fantasy is the best feeling that we've ever had. And I think the culture we live in, where we're so disconnected, it's really easy to be depressed without even realizing it. You know, it's really easy to actually be pretty low energy without realizing it. And when you imagine manifesting something and having this fantasy, it's invigorating, right? It's like an animal an animal who's been hibernating, like thinking about spring. You know, it's invigorating. It makes you feel alive.
but here's this. So this is my other like thing with it. Okay, yes. So there is this fantasy, right, of it. And again, that's all just based on what we've already witnessed somebody else have. What it's already in our experience. That's all we can pull
it's been
to.
marketed to us in some way.
Yeah, it's like AI can only give what it's been fed. It can't create the new. But when you
Right.
receive the new is a surprise.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
and
you
it's
have
like
no box for it.
you have no box. And what is okay? So picture the fantasy that you want to create because of all the things you know, right? And you're like, that's the thing that
Oh,
I want.
that's
The
good.
feel versus surprise, right?
This is weird.
Wow, this is better than I could have ever thought. This is a total surprise. This is like, oh my god. Like to me, that's a cooler
Oh, it is.
than the fantasy part.
Oh yeah, completely. Yes, and you have to when it's a surprise and it feels strange at first, you know, and then your ego then starts to question you because like, well, this wasn't our plan. This wasn't
Right.
the plan, Melanie. Like, I don't see a beard,
Yeah.
you know.
I
And we
even asked
have-
him, I go, do you ever grow a beard?
right. So
I don't need the beard. It was such a thing for such a long time. Like, it was a thing for a while.
what was I gonna say? We're talking. Oh yeah. So in the same way of like getting yourself off of a drug so that you can feel like high on life again, right? Like you have to wean yourself off of the fantasy. There, you know, like there's a liminal space at first when you get the real thing, because you've been so accustomed to feeling invigorated by imagining the fantasy. And so at first it can feel almost like you're maybe losing something, because you're losing the familiar fix.
Losing the familiar, the fantasy is the familiar fix. Oof, that's so good.
Yeah, thank you. Meme. Someone meme that.
The fantasy, and then versus like the surprise of like, whoa, I get this. This is completely new. It's not in my framework. And it's that awe, wonder, or, freshness, the
Yes.
total newness. And
Yeah, and that's what sweeps you off your feet, whether it's a relationship, a new career, yeah, like whatever like miraculous new thing seems to have just fallen in your lap. It's like when people try to conceive for a long time, and then when they surrender and start to adopt and they get pregnant, like there's lots of cases of that.
which is the same. So if you like are fixed to the fantasy, you're not going to open to the surprise. If you're fixed
Yes.
to trying to grasp for this manifestation of this one thing that you think you need, you're not going to get the surprise of the universe or whatever you want to call it giving you what you want, but more and better than what you want. Like when I went to Toronto, so I had read this book, The Busting Loose from the Money Game, and I told myself like 4 months ago or 5 months ago that I wanted to meet other people who had read this book. After I was like trying to push people into like reading the book,
Right,
because I
yes.
was like, how do I talk to
I
people?
heard about it from you, but also it was really good. I was like, this book's fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
So
And it
like
is. It's
I
good.
wanted to meet people who read that book. So I was like, okay, I want to meet people who read that book. So my ego could say, well, how do we do that? And like, okay, well, I could give it to friends. I could find a meetup group. I could see if he's created the book writer has created, the author has created like a community or something like that. So I could try for making my thing happen. But I just said it and I let it go. And I didn't think about it again, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like 2 months later, this is a part of being patient to receive more than you think you want. Is
It was appreciating during that time.
it was appreciating, yes, because I went at it with a feeling of like it would be so exciting. So it's like living, because appreciation is living from excitement and living from your inspiration and living from enjoyment. So I like gave it that energy. It's like it would be really exciting to meet people who have read this book. And then 2 months later, I get this email saying I'm coming out of retirement. I'm doing this one-time event. It's going to be a small group of people, intimate, and we're going to get together and talk about all these things. And I'm like, wait, this blows my mind, because this is better than just like not only do I get to meet people who have read the book, I get to meet the author, spend 5 days with 40 of us together, in intimate, close conversation.
Wow.
I mean, I could not have dreamt that up
Right. Yes. Yes.
at all. But it was, and it gave me what I wanted, but it was far better than I
Yeah.
could have
Yeah. You
done for
couldn't have even
myself.
known. Yeah, that was what you wanted.
So should we try for manifestation? Or should we just have like appreciation and excitement for things? Oh, it'd be really exciting to live in the country. I mean, I still have wants and dreams, right? Like I want to be
Yes.
away from the city, but it's not coming at it from this like, I hate the city and I don't
Yeah. I
like my
can't stand it.
house.
I've got to get out of here.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here. It's like, Mo, it would be really fun to have some land and have friends on the land. And how exciting would that be? Coming from that place and then and then like that's my, like the dandelion, that seeds that you blow out into the world and then you
Yes.
let it go, not grasping and trying, because I've done that. I'm on Zillow, I'm looking for properties, da 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 da. And just kind of mingle with life and then see what comes, because that's synchronicity and coincidence, which there is none. That's the path leading you to the thing. But that's
Yes.
not me digging the path. That's me just listening and finding the
Yeah.
path.
Right. Because do you really want to dig the path?
No, it's exhausting, and I've done
No.
that.
Yeah.
That's most of my life has been digging that path. And again, I dug and it took me here, but really my path was here. And eventually the life is going to push me over there.
Yeah.
Even though I just built this path to nowhere, and it was so exhausting. And that's the hamster wheel I got off of a year and a half ago, where I said, I'm so done hurrying and worrying and trying and struggling and striving, because all of that is in that pocket of grasp,
Yeah. What's marketed to us is that the way to have success and to have the life that we want is hard work. And hard work will be involved. You don't get there without being willing to do some hard work or
Some
what feels like
action.
hard for you,
Yeah.
right? Because you're having to at least push through your own resistance. It feels hard. But everyone works hard. Everyone gets to the end of their life, and there's no one who's in their 80s. If you ask them, like, did you work hard? Everyone would say, oh yeah, I worked so hard. But really, to have the kind of success we're imagining, it's about who we transform ourselves into being, like the vibration, the resonance. It's really about who you are. Like the next level that you're wanting to get to, the door doesn't get open to you because you show up with your resume and be like, look, I worked so hard.
But you are already those frequencies and already that. You're already that.
Yeah.
So it's how I view it. It's already there. So that's also something you don't have to grasp for to try to like make my frequency better. It's really like what's in the way
Removing
of that.
things.
It's more removing things. It's the
Yes.
stopping and
Yes.
the removal rather than the addition of things. It's like affirmations, I'm going to do affirmations. Well, that's kind of like putting perfume on poop, right? What one, you're not self-accepting and you're not self-appreciating or self-accepting, but largely self-accepting. And so then you're wanting to cover it up with this other thing, but it's like, well, you are already these things. So what's in the way of that? And it's much easier to, I think, to take something off or set something down than it is to pick something up.
I think once
know?
you know that and you get in the momentum of it, then it is easier. I think earlier on, it's definitely easier to add something, to pick something up. Just like it's easier to go buy something cute that I'm gonna like put on the coffee table than it is to declutter. And so the manifestation stuff, I think in the beginning, it can be helpful in a couple ways. One is it does give you a sense of invigoration and some motivation. And two, when you inevitably are disappointed, that's an opportunity to look in the mirror and see that it was really about your emotions the whole time. What I see more commonly is that people get disappointed and then they're just kind of like, oh, fuck this doesn't work. But you can still use all of that experience, like in service, like to actually get where you want to be, which is a place where you feel good about yourself and about your life all the time. It doesn't mean that you don't experience pain, but you don't have that, a sense of like that there's something wrong with me or there's something really wrong here and I've got to react to that and fix it.
How do you make the leap then? Because it feels like there's a jump or a step right there.
There's a quantum leap.
There's a quantum leap from like, okay, I'm trying these things, I'm trying to change my situation and going from the outside in to where we're now leaped and shifted from the inside out. What in your experience?
Okay, I don't know how it can happen for other people, but for me, I had to experience really being ground down by life so that all of the things that my ego wanted to believe were the next thing and this is a thing that's going to work and fix things, so that I stopped buying into that. I think there's kind of a dark night of the soul that you go through. And one of the reasons why it's hard to get to get to the other side of the quantum leap place is because I think we have an intuitive sense, like the creature in us has an intuitive sense that there's going to be a really unfun place we have to be in. And we don't know for how long, and we don't know what it's going to be like, but we know it's a place where nothing worked out the way I wanted it to. And I just have to sit with it.
That's the dark night of the soul. And we kind of try to avoid that at all costs. But then when we finally go through it, it's a breakthrough. But what is that breakthrough? Is that's where the surrender piece comes in, right? Or the self-acceptance piece comes in to where it flips the coin.
I have thought about a lot, what makes the difference between someone who just kind of crashes and like doesn't recover, full,
Mm-hmm.
like doesn't recover from the dark night of the soul versus someone who does come out on the other side with what would have seemed to their former self almost like superpowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't really know, right? Because I'm living my experience just through my personality, right? Through the limitations of my personality, where I have a certain way of dealing with things. So for me, when I was born, there were 5 planets in Scorpio in the 12th house. This makes me very naturally a mystic and a meditator and someone who can surrender. Like, there was a time when I laid on the floor for 3 months because I was so exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if I had had a different like personality, I would have thought that like I would have wanted to double down and like work even harder,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I do have this kind of natural mystical bent of, well, I can lay here and like do visualizations, and then when those aren't even working, then stop doing that and just see what happens. And it
Mm-hmm.
turns out I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay, that's what it is. Someone has to stay in the dark night of the soul long enough that you do what feels like completely giving up,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still alive, and then you realize, oh, even if I feel like I've lost everything and am not worth anything in the world anymore, it turns out I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
still here, you guys. So
Yeah.
so it brings you to realizing that your consciousness is actually what exists about you. It's
Mm-hmm.
not any of the stuff that you lost or had to give up or surrender.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think you can start to kind of slowly recover. But your ego is going to be trying to do power grabs all along the way. So you like so the work, in a way, the work never ends. You just get better at kind of getting out in front of it, so that, like, right, like, you get to this surrendered state, you realize I am consciousness. Oh wow, I don't have to do anything or like be any title, and like I'm just me. And then it could be the next day that you go to the store and you feel self-conscious about something, and your mind starts being like, maybe I should dot dot dot. You have to constantly pull yourself back into your own center. But once you get more in the habit of that and spend more time there, then that becomes your natural home.
Right.
Instead of being out, instead of the feeling of being out in the world is like your natural home. We have so much material striving because we don't want to be homeless,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you finally make your home, when you reach that critical mass of spending more time in here rather than sending your consciousness out, then then the game is over. Like you've already won.
The rest is all just stories, like my
Yes.
experience with my dark night of the soul. I did get to that breaking point where I was just like, fine, if I have to lose my house, if I have to lose this, I don't care anymore. It doesn't really matter. I'm at that point where I'm ready to just risk it all. And then I realized when I was like, all right, screw this, I'm just going to risk it all, that my worst case scenario never came true. And then I was like, oh,
Yes.
how much I was in storyland with everything,
Mm.
and then letting go of the stories, and then starting to see, like you're saying, get ahead of it. It's like, for me, it's like starting to see the storyland pop up with all of this stuff, and
Yes.
scenarios. It's like, wait, is any of that real? Because that mind stuff is largely just story, and it's not real. It's all fabricated. What did I hear once? It was somebody said that your it's your subjective experience, like whatever your version of reality and storyland is. Like, we're here having a conversation, you're having a very different experience than my experience, just
Yeah.
by how even we're sitting and our vision of the room and all of that kind of stuff. And your history, you hear words that I say, and it goes filters through all of that. So we're all having, like, 9 billion or 8 billion people on the planet are all having their own unique reality, that's all
Yes.
very subjective, which means none of it is true. None of it is really real. It's all a story, right? Because
Yeah.
absolute
And
truths
then
have to be
yeah.
universal.
And then how ironic then that we feel swayed and fearful when we hear that a lot of other people are doing something. A lot of other people are doing X, Y, or Z, right? The pack animal in us starts to like like I don't know how. Let's see. How would we talk about this with like what you were just saying with stories? We start to integrate that, and it becomes our story.
Well, there's a
We start to lose
collective story.
yeah. We start to lose our individuation. Yeah, we start to lose our individual self.
Well, and there's a lot of push for that these days too, because
Yes.
it's like be in this kind of collective consciousness, kind of thing. And they're both illusory. It's just that more people have bought into this story. So we say that that's true or fact because the amount of
Yes.
number of
Yeah.
people that have agreed upon, and they've
Yeah.
only agreed upon it because it makes them feel a certain way.
Right. It's
We're really
common sense.
feeling,
Everyone knows.
yeah, and we're just feeling sensory beings, and that's all we're doing. Is like, oh, I like
Wow.
this, so I'm going to make a story about it, and I don't like
Yes.
this, so I'm going to make a story about don't like about this.
Yes.
But it's just we're following this constantly, and then making stories about it. I mean that right there, the thumbs up, thumbs down, is a form of the ego's already come in and labeled it.
Yes.
But if we even go before that, then there's just the pure raw experience, staying in that sweet space, which is like with pre-story. It's just like, oh, I'm having, then there's like nothing to not that has to be changed. The moment we have to change something, we've kind of locked it in a bit more. But when I can really
Yes.
like have the open hands, and it's free to come and go, I'm a bit free to receive more than I thought, and I'm also willing to let go what's not serving. But if I'm constantly like this with everything, because
Yes.
we do this with things we don't want to, we hold on so
Right.
tight. Like here's this
Yes.
like pain. Well, really, all you have to do is do this, and the pain is gone. And people don't think that that's that easy. Well, you're just an illusion, Melanie, that you can let go of 30 years or 50 years of childhood trauma like that. Like, no, you have to go through 30 years. If you had 30 years of childhood trauma, you need another 30 years to go through therapy to get over it. I don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
I believe it can happen in a second if you're willing to let it go,
Yes.
and
Yeah, it's
that
a quantum
acceptance.
leap.
And it's,
And a radical departure. You have to make a radical departure. Okay, what you were saying about how as soon as we, like as soon as we make a decision, right, or as soon as our mind fixates on something, that's then you're no longer with the open hands. In Western alchemy, they talk about the imagination, and they say that the most powerful energy that we can harness is the energy that's arising and right before it turns into a thought. Right before it turns into a thought is the most powerful
I
energy.
100% agree.
And I see it being analogous to semen retention in a way,
Okay.
because with semen retention, well, not just with semen retention, but like in Taoism, they would say that like for a man to build up his energy, what he would want to do is stimulate himself right up until he would ejaculate, right? And so it's kind of similar to like wanting to harness the energy that is right before the mind would form a thought. Because when you form a thought, that's kind of like your ego, and it's a part that's of the world, right? And when a man would ejaculate, that's when like that essence, that power is going out of him into the world.
It's like when I feel like with intuition, for me, intuition comes like that largely the space right as I'm waking up. I'm still asleep,
Yes.
but I'm not, I'm awake, but I'm asleep. It's like,
Yes.
and there's a small little like dreamy window, and it's like downloads of information come in that space.
Yes.
And that's again, it's like pre-thought, but it's knowing, feeling,
Yes. This is why I often am
creativity.
doing videos in my robe, because I get the best ideas. I get the best ideas right as I was waking up.
Yeah, because the mind machine hasn't just started like rolling,
Yes.
at that point, and limiting. I mean, it's a limitation, all of it.
Yes.
and then you're into this like the newness, the freshness, the aha, the insight of something radically different is that space before thought. It's like, wait, how do I have a thought
Yes.
before a thought? It's like the knowing before thought. Like knowing is like felt. Like a friend of mine, we were just talking about like dreams, and it's like, well, and how to put the dream into words because the things happened in the dream, but really what it was like a feeling state was going on in the dream, and then we try to put the logic to it afterwards, right? So
Yes.
there's this feeling state that's happening
Yeah,
that's
the ego
rich with
creates a
information.
story to explain the sensations that we're feeling.
Yes, yes. Instead of just being, and those sensations are rich, but they're rich with like you. It's we the moment we put the words to it, we've limited that experience. What we're having is an experience rich with information,
Yes.
but so
Yes.
rich that the one moment you put that into words, it's like you've lost it, kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a late teacher. Did you ever hear about Uspensky?
I don't think so.
So I haven't really gotten into his work, but one thing that I've read a few times is that a staple practice was that he would have students just sit and observe how the sensations in their body were what were generating all of their thoughts. You
Yes.
just have to sit and experience right from your digestion, to your heartbeat, to your breathing, that it's all that the thoughts are just coming, just trying to explain what is going on in your animal.
100%. Yeah.
I wanted to return to something you said earlier, and it was something like, what we think we want to manifest. Okay, so how like being in an open state, just being in a really open state, and kind of just how good that feels, and it's like that's what we're really wanting. So if someone is in that state, then like someone might ask, okay, well then what's your life purpose then? Like are we all supposed to just sit in meditation and like feel the bliss of like undifferentiated awareness, not wanting anything?
I think that we're born into bazillions of layers of limitation, right? So there, I mean, sure, maybe there'd be the person who gets that instant enlightenment and all those limitations go away. But even what we might consider enlightenment or expansion or whatever we want to call it is just a removal of one thin layer. And then there's another thin layer, right?
Yeah, and the more layers you remove, then you become aware of a layer that's more subtle that you couldn't perceive before.
Yeah, it's like a spotlight, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, so your
Yes.
awareness grows. So I think that, what we were saying about, okay, is that we're just supposed to stay in bliss? No, I feel like like you said before about the feelings, there's like this inner sensation and feeling level, or there's something wanting to bubble up,
Yes.
and then we're like, our ego goes, oh, this is what it is. But it's that bubbling up of an experience is like a layer is going to be shed here.
And that's the creative energy.
Yeah. So it's not like wanting to deny your life or deny your experience in this worldly plane. I think that it's living it more fully,
Yes.
but past, it's not with your limitations. It's that pre-state that it's like, yeah, I want to tap into that and then kind of follow that.
Yeah, it's to allow for the expression of the creative energy
Yeah.
without the ego starting to chop it down and make it like into this one neat little form.
Yeah. And then it's more of I think it's more of an exciting, it's like I can get a book and I could read the book from front cover to the back cover, right? Or I could be like, there's an author who's going to give me a chapter today, and I'm going to read this chapter, but I don't know when I'm going to get the next chapter.
Yes.
And when are they going to
Yes.
write? And I have to wait for the next chapter. It's like a series, a TV series, you know, and you're like,
Yes.
you want to binge watch it, but there's also something exciting about like, okay, next week, you had to wait all week for it, you know, and then it comes and it's
Yeah.
like,
So,
okay.
yeah, revelation. Did you ever come across this in yogic philosophy? I know, like kind of the tantric school that I've learned from. They say there are five powers of the divine. So there's, creation, maintenance, destruction, also concealment
Concealment,
and
revelation, that
revelation.
dance. That's
Yeah,
what we're playing
concealment and revelation.
constantly. Yes.
It's like in Kabbalah, they would say that God purposely conceals things so that we can have the experience of revelation.
That's the living in excitement.
Yes.
And if, you know,
Anticipating the next episode,
yeah, it's
right?
like, what's happening next?
Yeah,
I'm excited
right.
for whatever.
Yeah, God's like, no,
Yes.
no, you don't get the next episode till next week, Or like when you were thinking, oh, it would be so exciting to be able to get together with other people who have read this book and know this author, right? So God didn't give you the next episode for 2 months.
Yeah.
But then when it came, it was so much cooler.
Yeah.
Than you could have imagined.
So it was such a surprise. It was so cool. So yeah, do I want to manifest? I mean, for me, I want to be in a state of appreciation and excitement for
Yes.
my experience, and just be in the state of experiencing rather than controlling my experience,
being in
micromanaging
the
my
flow.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's new for me in the last couple years, and I'm like, because the other way is was so much my personality. You know, like I can make anything happen. I'm like a manifester. I think I am in what is human design. I'm a
yeah,
manifester or something like that. So I'm like, oh yeah, I can make it happen with a lot of hard work. That's all it takes is a lot of hard work. I can do it. Like I got guns. I'll do
Right.
it. And now I'm like, I don't want to do any of that anymore. And it's actually more fun to just be in the wonder, like a child that wakes up and it's like, today, like they're not planning their whole week out like we do as
No.
adults. What's fun today? What's fun right now in this moment? What am I excited for? Living from my inspiration.
So I totally agree with you about it's like being like a child and being in that flow. And one of the things that makes it so that the child can be like that is that the parents are providing some structure. And so when we are in like that state of flow, then what is the structure and or where does it come from so that we don't just like exhaust ourselves or like not take care of basic needs. I haven't thought about this before. What's coming to me right now is I think it's the habits, like it's the 3D habits of taking care of ourselves that are the structure that allows our energy to flow. Like we know what are the good foods for us. We know things to stay away from. Like having like we know when we're tired and we need to rest, and we know when is the best time for us to get after something.
Instinct and intuition. I think it's already a lot is just built into the virtual reality movie that we're living. Like the moment we make a step, then
Okay. Yeah,
the
like
step
we don't
presents
have to
itself.
worry about like
The
we
structure.
don't have to plan about that.
No.
Yeah.
But we think that we do, right? But when we let go of all that, it will, like, it's like part of that trust, and just knowing that you'll be taken care of.
We internalize the mother and father. Yeah. And growing up, being a child and genuinely needing their help and needing them to create structure for us, and that we're dependent upon something outside ourselves, that then sets us up for looking for those things from the world.
Yes.
And exchanging our vital energy, our creative energy, for things in the world, because we think we have to. But if we internalize our mother and father, then we have like that kind of being provided for within the flow state. And in there's a yogic practice, a visualization practice, And one of the things that you do is visualize yourself as your parents. And then you like, and I mean, I haven't done this and I don't know anyone that, like, this is a very old practice that I've just read about. But then in the visualization, you cut off their head with a Vajra knife, and you integrate their energy into yourself. And when I read about that, I was kind of like, huh, like, interesting visualization, kind of like, why would you want to imagine that? But now, the way I see it now is it's a way to reach our subconscious. It's a way to change some very deep programming in us. So it's not literally about killing anyone.
Yeah.
It's about taking something from outside ourselves and realizing that it's in here.
Yeah. It's always only us. Like I'm another thought that I've been thinking these days is, okay, so we come both from massage backgrounds.
Yes.
So think about this. Okay, so pretend that you're on the massage table and my hand is on you. Are you feeling my hand or are you feeling you? Because my hand's just a mirror to your
Right.
own experience. You're
Right. Yeah. And if you
experiencing,
touch a place that it feels good or it hurts, it's the same hand doing that.
Yeah.
So is it about the hand or is it
yeah,
about
my hand,
me?
you're not feeling me. It's my new view of it is like they're never ever feeling me. They're only ever feeling themselves. Like if I lay
Yes.
on the floor and my back is touching the floor, I could take my awareness and focus outwardly and say, I am feeling the floor. The floor is hard, da 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 da. But really, all the sensations are inside of me. Literally, what I'm feeling is like, oh, I feel these vertebrae of my spine on the ground. I feel my back, and the floor is the mirror for me to have that, because without the mirror, I can't experience.
Yes.
Right? So all of life is really just the mirror to experience it's contained, this ecosystem, body, mind, spirit ecosystem. And it's just, we need all these reflectors to have that contrasted experience, concealment, revelation. You can't feel expanded if you haven't been feeling contracted.
Yes.
And so all of these things are just mirrors back to feeling ourselves. So we only ever are feeling ourselves.
Yeah. I read a Rudolf Steiner lecture, and he was saying that the reason why our bodies are the way they are, where everything's like dual, he said, it's so that we can put our hands in prayer, because that's how we can experience ourselves.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Wrapped up right there.
And then and right, so duality, even having a dual body, it's so that we can experience ourselves. So like pleasure, pain, hard, soft, black, white, happy, sad, conceal, reveal.
And they all need a stimulus to give us that contrasted experience. It's like I was thinking about this with love the other day too, because it's the same kind of thing. It's like, well, love and how most people look at it is very possessive. It's very outside themselves. You came into my life and now I feel love because you are the source of my love. So basically you're the source of my drug because I like that love and it feels good and it is a drug, right? So you are the source of my drug. And so if you leave, now my drug is gone.
Yeah.
When really all they ever really were, if we were to take a step back in my view of it, all they ever really were was maybe the inspiration to awaken the quality of love within myself.
Yes.
They were just the mirror pointing back to what was already here that I can access at any time. They were just a stimulus to that.
Yes.
It's not like they brought it to me or gave it to me. It's just like they shone in the mirror. It's like, here it is. I was like, oh yeah, it's the muse. Like
Yes.
the other
Yes.
is just the muse to the awakening of the love within yourself. That is
Yes.
you. That is already yourself, an aspect of yourself.
Yeah, I've observed from having kids, as well as being in love, that it actually feels it feels so good to love someone else so hugely. That actually is more rewarding than being loved, right? Like we think that we want to be loved, and we do, and the people who you surround yourself with should love you. But the reason, like you're saying, that it feels so good is because of what it's awakening in me. It's expanding my heart.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that's
it's
pouring
making
out
this,
of
yeah,
me.
it's making it bigger. And it turns out that that just feels really fucking good. You know?
Yeah. I love Anthony DeMello. He's like from the 80s. He's now since passed away, but he was like a Catholic priest or Jesuit priest. And then but he's Indian, East
Oh,
Indian.
I think I
I
know this.
love
And is
him.
he like where he would have them do sun salutations and it was like worshiping the
Maybe.
sun?
I
Maybe
don't
I'm
remember
thinking of
that. I
someone
think that's
else.
somebody else.
Okay.
He just talks in a lot of analogies and stories but one of his big things is saying that yeah, you love really what you really want is to give love, not to. It's not about what you really want is not the receiving of love. What you really want is the giving of love.
Yeah, and the analogy of the giving love being the best part of it is that okay. So we talked about how like the most powerful energy to harness is when it's rising right before it comes a thought, or the most powerful energy to harness is like right before it like tumbles over into orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
And so with this heart stuff that we're talking about, it's that it's most powerful when you're letting it flow, but before you put an expectation on it.
Mm-hmm.
That like, oh, well, I'm giving you all this love, you know, like that
Yeah,
just
expectations of
yeah that
demand.
sucks the power. That sucks the power out of it.
And then they feel obligated. So you've created a demand basically, and then they feel obligated, and that's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, just like put the dam in the middle of the river.
Yeah, one of my teachers said something like, as soon as you bring in accounting, love is over.
Yeah, all the tit for tat. It's
Yeah.
so true. Yeah, so true. Yeah, I think another conversation we'll have at another time is
Yeah.
diving into relationship and all this stuff
Oh my
because
gosh, that'll be even more. I mean this is pretty good, but
that will be really good. Yeah, I think I've got a few on the list, but that will be a big one, I think. It'll be
oh,
fun.
something I was thinking of earlier when you were talking about appreciation and appreciating what we have. So a couple things. One is that I've read, and I don't recall the numbers, but of all the bits of information that are happening all the time, our brain or our nervous system like actually can only integrate a very small percentage of it. So what we think we want, or think we don't have, and like when it comes to appreciation, one thing to realize is that there's so much more than we're even seeing.
Yeah.
So you start appreciating, and then you actually start seeing more things to appreciate.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
also with like the spectrum of light that actually exists, we see less than 1% of it, like that we actually perceive. There is so much more going on than than the limitations of our nervous system, can allow us to perceive.
Yeah, I feel life these days for me is just about unlimiting myself constantly. Constantly
Yes.
unlimiting myself because there is that 1%. And it's like, well, but there's this 99% that my brain, my ecological brain hasn't put words to and defined and labeled and all of that stuff. And the more I'm staying in storyland and labels, the more I'm not into that. I'm into actuality, but I'm not into potentiality. And the more I let go of the limitation, then I'm in open to receive the potentiality.
Yeah, when you said that, I got an image of a naturalist hunched over a desk, and he's got like all the insects, in the glass boxes on the
Uh-huh.
walls and stuff, and he's so obsessed with naming and cataloging everything that he misses real life.
Yeah, which
And
is what
like
we've
that's the
done
ego.
in the Western world, especially in Western materialistic science. And everybody feels so secure with that. They want to know the facts.
Yes.
Like you'll never know the facts of anything
Right.
because you can always take it to the end and it's like two ends of a pencil. There'll always be another scientist who's gone to the end of whatever and said,
Yes.
well, here's my theory. And it's opposite of your theory. And then you'll always be at the standstill, checkmate, constantly.
Yeah, there will always be a way to look at things on a smaller level and to look at things on a bigger level. It's like like there was a time when someone would have thought, well, a flea is the smallest living thing. There's definitely no smaller living thing than a flea, right? And now we could look at bacteria that are on the flea. We could look at parasites that are on parasites, and there are probably parasites on those parasites. And how long do you spend looking for parasites?
And defining your life by these limitations. So it's like, this is what's truth. And now I'm going to live my life according to that because I have already studied it all.
Yes.
And this is the truth. And now it's a security thing. It's like, now all I have to do is follow this box.
Yes.
That feels very secure. So people want to be in the box. The box feels very, people want to be limited. Limited is familiar
it's
and
like the
feels
weighted
secure.
blanket. And we'll talk about this more when we talk about relationships, but masculine containment, right? Like masculine containment for a woman, in a way it helps our creative energy flow more.
Yeah, save
You know,
table.
so yeah.
Table that. Let's write
So,
that down for after.
This is why this is part of why it's so important to just accept the limitations that are present. Just accept them.
Being okay with what is.
Yeah, because you may be limitations that are feeling frustrating to you right now and that you're pushing up against. You may be being contained. You know, and you don't realize what's on the other side of that. You know, that this period of being patient and not being able to jet off where you want to, where you think you want to, is actually going to benefit you. Like that, like there's still something cooking in the oven. There's something gestating under the surface.
Containment for being almost like the pressure cooker. It's like it's the containment being the pressure cooker for expansion. You just don't have expansion without that contraction, right? So you form the container over it, and then it can like push out until it's ready to like gestate and birth.
Yes. And it makes us strong to have resistance. You know, we get stronger when we have to move through resistance. You know, like the baby getting squeezed like almost to death, like coming out of the birth canal, squeezes the fluids out of their lungs.
So resistance in our own creative process is not a thing like, oh, I'm having a block, I'm having a resistance, need to get rid of this. It's like, oh, maybe this is here. I'm pushing up against uncomfortability, someplace where I'm going to have to grow here. And I'm streaking back and then I don't do, or I push through that resistance is like building that next skill that I need, or framework that I need or something to do the thing. That's the creative endeavor.
Yeah, maybe what feels like resistance is it's just like a part of yourself. You know, you're not an entirely well-rounded person. And so this is a place where you're just not that developed, and it's time to like develop yourself. It's like, you know, have you ever seen the yogis where as a practice, like they hold up their hand until it gets all like shriveled and stuff, you know, and like you can't even use it anymore, right? Yeah. And so there are parts of us that maybe we haven't used in so long and they're shriveled. Maybe we don't even know that they're there.
Yeah, because with atrophy, you get less sensation.
Yes. Yeah, like you would start thinking, you wouldn't even know you had a hand, you know, if you can't feel it. Yeah. I think about this sometimes when I think of intuition or like psychic powers, when, you know, it's just something that anyone can do, but it's a muscle that we don't use. And especially like if you haven't been feeling it and you've been told it doesn't exist, like why would you ever explore it?
Yeah. Maybe we can have another topic on like how to explore those things more, or like your ways that you've tuned into your intuition or the telepathic space or that psychic space, and how to hone that more. Bring that out more. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. This is a good conversation.
I know. Yay, we got to think about what to call these, like conscious conversations, or title it somehow. We don't have to think of it right now.
Right. There's something definitely that we bring to the table about ancient wisdom, right? Because we've studied all these ancient wisdom and practiced all these like ancient practices. And there's something about just understanding yourself and being able to transform, like being able to like heal anything. Like even if you die, you like you it, like that might be part of the healing process. You know,
Right. That's awesome.
that part's getting edited out.
I like it. Yeah, people won't be able to handle that one.
Right.
Death is part of the healing process. Yeah,
And something, I mean,
evolution
this doesn't have to be
process.
part of this episode, but oh, okay. This can be. Oh man, we'll riff about this. So the kind of gamifying and commoditization of the fear of mortality, like how much of the biohacking, like cold plunge, keto,
Mm-hmm.
everyone needs to take magnesium, red light therapy, right? How many of these things are actually about like fear of mortality,
Mm-hmm.
not wanting to look old,
Yeah,
not wanting to have any
guilty.
aches and pains? Yeah,
I
me
was so
too.
guilty. Yeah, how do I surrender that? That's, because there's always parts of my experience where I'm not accepting my
Of
experience
course.
and or not
Yeah.
appreciating my experience. It's like I'm really not appreciating going through this menopause stuff. It's really, yeah. And then of course I think that just it's the grip again, and then it just magnifies it so much more. It's like, all right, soften. And this is another thing to hug rather than squeeze, and yeah,
Yeah.
welcome the experience rather than push it away.